Hello everyone, my name's Ben, and I'm going to do a deck tech for my Teferi Temporal Archmage deck. Teferi is a Planeswalker, and he costs 6, and comes in with 5 loyalty. His +1 is look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one into your hand, and the other on the bottom. His -1 is untap 4 target permanents, and his -10 is you get an emblem which says you may activate loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control on any player's turn at any time you could cast an instant. So he's pretty sweet. Most of the time I'm down ticking him, but he comes in handy. Helps filters out things. Anyway, let's start with my land base. We've got 30 basic lands, or basic islands, and then 6 non-basic lands. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, good for devotion. Myriad Landscape, helps do some mana ramping. Lonely Sandbar, Cycle, draw card, it's pretty good. Ghost Quarter, any monocolor deck should be running it, it's very helpful, especially when you run into something annoying, a land. Evolving Wilds, fetches land, and Temple of False God. Alright, let's move on to creatures. First creature is Sage of Ipiter. He costs 1, and when he comes in, I look at the top 4 cards in my library, and I can put it back in any order. Really helpful. Let's see, Armory Automaton is 3 colorless for a 2/2 artifact. That when he enters the battlefield or attacks, attach all equipments to him. So if you play anyone that's running a lot of equipment, you just steal it all for a turn. It's pretty helpful. It's kind of cool. He hasn't really done anything yet, but I have a feeling that he will be very good in multiplayer games. Trinket Mage is a 2 and a blue for a 2/2 human that when he enters the battlefield, go search up an artifact with converted mana cost 1 or less. He's pretty helpful. Let's see, Thassa, God of the Sea, is 2 and a blue for a god. That's a 5/5. She's not a creature unless my devotion is 5. And at the beginning of my upkeep, scry 1. And for 1 and a blue, target creature I control can't be blocked this turn. She's really good. Next we have Mana War. Is 2 and a blue for a 2/2 jellyfish that when it enters battlefield, return target creature to its owner's hand. Chasm Skulker is 2 and a blue for a squid horror. It's a 1/1. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. When it dies, put that many 1/1 squid tokens onto the battlefield. It gets out of hand very quickly. Next we have Clone. 3 and a blue for a shapeshifter that says that when it enters the battlefield, I make a copy of any creature on the battlefield. Pretty good. Let's see, Master of Waves is 3 and a blue for a Merfolk Wizard that has protection from red. Elemental creatures that I control get +1/+1, and when he enters the battlefield, I make a number of 1/0 blue elemental creature tokens on the battlefield equal to my devotion to blue. It's usually pretty high. Next I have Archaeomancer. It's 2 and a blue and double blue for a 1/2 human wizard that when it enters the battlefield, return a sorcery, instant or sorcery from my graveyard to my hand. Really good. Muldrifter is 4 and a blue for a elemental that has flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and I can evoke it for 2 and a blue. Next we have Docent of Perfection, 3 double blue for an insect horror that has flying. It's a 5/4. Whenever you cast a instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 human wizard creature token onto the battlefield. Then if you control 3 or more wizards, transform Docent of Perfection. And when it transforms, it becomes a 6/5. It says wizards I control get +2/+1 and have flying, and whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 blue human wizard creature token onto the battlefield. It's pretty good. Next we have Storm Surge Kraken is a 5/5 Kraken for 3 double blue. It has hexproof, and Lieutenant as long as my commander's on the battlefield gets +2/+2, and whenever it's blocked or becomes blocked, I draw 2 cards. Let's see, Aeon Chronicler is 3 in double blue for an avatar that says that its power and toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand. You can spend it for X, which is X and 3 blue. X can't be 0. Whenever a time counter is removed from him, draw an extra card. Next we have Duplicate, 6 colorless for a shapeshifter that has imprint. When he enters the battlefield, I may exile a target non-token creature. As long as a card exiled with Duplicate is a creature card, Duplicate has the power and toughness and creature types of the creature that it exiled. It's removal. Next we have Oblivion Silver for 6 colorless. When he enters the battlefield, exile the top 4 cards of an opponent's library, and I gain control of all lands that have been exiled this way. Next we have Frostime for 4, double blue, and it's a 6/6 giant that says that when it enters the battlefield, or whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay 2 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, I can tap a target permanent. It doesn't untap target's controller's next end step. Or next untap step. Let's see, next we have Torrential Gearhulk. Is 4, double blue, for a 5/6 artifact construct that has flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may cast a target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Let's see, next we have Scourge of Fleets, is 5 and double blue for a Kraken that when it enters the battlefield, return each creature your opponent controls with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands I control. That's helpful. Let's see, Chancellor Spires is 4 and triple blue, and it's a Sphinx that says that I may reveal it from my opening hand. If I do at the beginning of the first upkeep, each opponent puts the top 7 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, I may cast an instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its cost. Let's see. Next we have Lathos the Tidemaker, 5, triple blue, for an octopus that when Lathos the Tidemaker attacks, you may pay 8. If you do, tap up to 8 target permanents. Those permanents don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Pretty good. Inkwell Leviathan is an artifact creature Leviathan that has Trample, Island Walk, and Shroud. And it's a 7/11. It's pretty hard to deal with. And lastly, we have Deep Sea Kraken for 7 and triple blue. It's a 6/6. It can't be blocked. You can suspend it for 9, and it costs 2 and a blue. And whenever an opponent casts a spell, I may remove a suspend counter from Deep Sea Kraken. He's pretty good, especially in a multiplayer game. Next, let's go to my spells. Let's see. I recently got this, Pact of Negation. Cost 0, counter target spell. At the beginning of my upkeep, I have to pay 3 in double blue. If I don't, I lose the game. Let's see, Mystical Tutor. Cost 1 blue. Search my library for a sorcery or instant and put it on top. Next we have Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library and draw a card. Pongify, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Its controller puts a 3/3 ape creature token onto the battlefield. Blue removal. Brainstorm is 1 blue for an instant that says draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards of them on top from your hand on top of your library in any order. Next we have Portent. It's from Ice Age, and that's a targeted ponder basically. I can look at the target player's top 3 cards, and then they can shuffle. On the next upkeep, I draw a card, which is kind of weird, but it's a cool card. It's helped. Next we have Telling Time. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of those cards into your hand, 1 on top of your library, and 1 on the bottom of your library. Let's see, Memory Lapse, counter target spell, put it on top of the library. Days, it's 1 in a blue, and you may return an island to your to its owner's hand rather than pay Dace's mana cost, and it's counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. So it's useful. That's done stuff. Cyclonic Rift, 1 in a blue for return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand, or you can overload it for 6 in a blue, and it goes from let's see, of target with each. So if you pay 7 for it, it no longer targets, so it gets around hexproof. Let's see, Reality Shift, 1 in a blue, exile target creature, its controller manifests the top card of his or her library. So they could have something scary, you get rid of it, they get a 2/2. Sometimes that 2/2 can flip into something even worse, but you know, most of the time it's blue removal. Let's see, double blue for counterspell, counter target spell. Pretty simple. Next we have 2 in a blue for an instant, it's Displace. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under its owner's control. Pretty good for enter the battlefield effects. Next we have Dissolve, 1 double blue, counter target spell, scry 1. Pretty good, very helpful. Next we have Cackling Counterpart for 1 in double blue. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature you control. Making copies of clones is fun. Let's see, Blue Sun Zenith. X, triple blue, target player draws 6 cards. Shuffle Blue Sun Zenith into its owner's library. It's good for drawing cards. Next we have Temple of Reflections, and it's a sorcery for 3 in a blue. Target creature, let's see, choose a target creature you control. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Each opponent may put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. For each opponent who does, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. It's pretty cool. Fact or Fiction is 3 in a blue for an instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of the library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. It's pretty good. Let's see, Aetherize, 3 in a blue for an instant. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. That's saved me a few times in games. Deep Analysis, 3 in a blue for target player, for a sorcery that says target player draws 2 cards, and then you can flash it back for 1 in a blue and pay 3 life. So you can draw 4 cards total. Next we have Rite of Replication. It's 2, double blue, and it has kicker 5. Put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of target creature. If it was kicked, put 5 tokens onto the battlefield instead. So you do that with Frost Titan, you're going to have a good time. Next we have Rewind. It's 2 in double blue, and it says counter target spell. Untap 4 lands. It's really good, especially when you have a Torrential Gear Hulk. Overwhelming Denial, 2 in double blue, and you can search it for double blue. Overwhelming Denial cannot be countered by spells or abilities. Counter target spell. Summary Dismissal, 2 double blue. Exile all other spells and counter all abilities for the Eldrazi's. Next we have Ugin's Insight, 3 double blue for sorcery that says scry X, where X is the highest converted mana cost among permanents you control, then draw 3 cards. Normally scrying 6, I've done it with the Seeker Icon out, so I scry 10, draw 3. It's really good. Evacuation, 3 double blue, return all creatures to their owner's hands to deal with tokens. Spell Twine, 5 in a blue, exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, and target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. Copy those cards, counts copies if able without paying their mana cost. Exile Spell Twine. It's pretty good. And then we have Part the Water Veil for 4 double blue, take an extra turn, or I can awaken 6, pay 6, triple blue, and I can put 6 1/1 counters on a land and turn it into a creature. Very helpful. And lastly, let's move on to artifacts and enchantments. First enchantment is Control Magic. It's an aura, enchant creature, you control enchanted creature. Steal your opponent's best creature. Future Sight, 2 and triple blue. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library. Really good. Well of Ideas. It's 5 and a blue, and when it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card, and at the beginning of my draw step, I draw 2 additional cards. Really good. And now we go to my artifacts. Everflowing Chalice is 0 with multi-kicker 2, and you can tap it and add 1 colorless to your mana pool for each time it was kicked. It's really good. Glaring Spotlight for 1 is an artifact for 1. Creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells or abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. And I can pay 3 and sacrifice it. Creatures I control gain hexproof until the end of the turn and are unblockable. Soul Ring. 1, tap for 2. It's good. Wayfarer's Bauble. Cost 1, pay 2, sacrifice it, search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped. Thought Vessel is 2 for an artifact that says you have no maximum hand size, and I can tap it to add 1 colorless to my mana pool. Sapphire Medallion is 2 for an artifact that says blue spells I cast cost 1 less. Commander Sphere is 3 for an artifact that I can tap, add any color of mana to my mana pool, and sacrifice it to draw a card. Worn Power Stone, 3 for an artifact. It enters battlefield tapped. Add 2 to my mana pool. Hedron Archive is 4. It taps for 2, and I can pay 2 to sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. And Thran Dynamo is 4 for an artifact that taps for 3 colorless mana. So, there you go, guys. That's my deck. It's a lot of fun. It does things, especially in multiplayer and single player. I've completely shut down some people with this deck, and I enjoy it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like it, share it, subscribe. I'm going to keep doing videos like this. Thanks for watching.